sides and pick order independently. And HLE, that means we'll be on the blue side, but we're going to have draft go in the opposite direction. So let's get into that now and see what is going to be taken away. For 20th Jace ban, what do you reckon? Yeah, there's Kingen and Zeus in the game. I think they should probably ban Jace.
I think they will. Also, the junglers like to use Jace right now. There it is.
Yeah.
The Rumble is gone from Kingen. The Malphite already off the table. Yunara, not going to be first picked here by Nongshim RedForce this time.
Oh, Orianna and Azir. That's going to be the trade unless one of them is banned away here. I think perhaps an Azir ban, just because I know both Scout and Zeka would love to play that champion. Scout probably more of the Orianna player in comparison to Zeka.
I wonder if they ban Orianna and try to give Zeka a Silas counter pick or an Akali counter pick. Wouldn't that be fun?
Oh, that would be fun.
I would love to see something like that. As Silas has had a lot of success so far. The Varus will be taken away from Taeun. It's one of his favorites, as we know. And
I think,
do you take the Azir? Do you take the Orianna? I like the Azir right now, personally.
Yeah, I think just take the Azir because I don't think Zeka is nearly as comfortable on the Orianna as Scout is. And so taking away the Azir, giving that over to Scout, very happy on that champion, and taking away one of Zeka's biggest picks as well in that. But they're taking their time, and it's going to be Pantheon, actually. That's a consideration at the beginning. Kind of crazy that that's the lock-in, but has found a fair bit of success here in the LCK Cup so far.
Perhaps they want to go Pantheon Talia if the Azir is locked in. Talia just has not looked very strong thus far in 2026 as Aphelios.
Interesting.
Where Gume finally gets his hands on it. It's been banned against him so many times. And they'll take the Azir, unsurprisingly. But that Aphelios pick is pretty early on, but it's really difficult to take away some of the best tools like the Lulu from him in this first phase. Obviously, you'll lose jungle power if you grab that Lulu now, but it's a really strong scaling draft here for Hanwha Life already. And instead of the Talia, they're still looking for the stronger Orianna pick here. The Pantheon is a flex, but, I mean, they could just slam Orianna Nocturne and show their hand here, but I think they will likely just grab the Orianna and something in the bottom lane instead. Could also grab a strong top lane pick, but there's nothing really that stands out as a blindable pick that's this high prio right now.
And then you don't want to be immediately counterpicked straight afterwards as well. So I think holding on to top makes a bit of sense here. But also, like, you don't really want to lock support. Probably just getting a priority 80 carry up against the Aphelios would be the option here.
You don't want something that needs a strong pair, like Lucian, for example, because then those pairs will get banned away in the second phase. So this is a really tricky angle, actually, right now for Taeun. See what he wants to lock in.
Is it just going to be... Okay,
Nico is up. That's one of the only blindable supports I feel in this situation. That makes sense.
Agreed. That's a scary one. Is Delight thinking about the good old Aphelios Thresh? That'd be fun. But the Lulu makes the most sense here. As you can already see that there's a ranged support on the other side, so being able to go toe-to-toe in the laning phase is going to be pretty important here, and him and Gumayushi are going to have a lot of fun on these two champs. And now also sets Kanavi up to play something that can really get in amongst it as well. Lulu is so good at supporting skirmish-heavy junglers, and so a Xin Zhao going to be something worth considering on the ban list here
Jarvan.
For Nongshim, as well as that Jarvan, exactly right.
I think those are definitely the big ones. The Ambessa is another consideration, but it's already been banned. So, see what he does decide to go for here. I think he'll get his pick of what's left, as Jarvan feels like it's 100% the ban right here for Nongshim RedForce.
Yep. I feel like there are some traps for Kingen. I feel like it's a little bit of a scary scenario because we've been seeing a lot of blind Renekton being answered by Na and Kennen.
Yeah,
and
I don't think
doing that into Zeus sounds like an actual death wish.
Yeah, I don't think you want to blind that here in this draft. You only have the Pantheon for ball carrier. The Nico engage is decent, the Pantheon engage is decent, but the wild growth is so good defensively for the Aphelios, not to mention the engage opportunities they're now banning away. Xin Zhao's gone. I think the Jarvan will slot in here quite nicely. I mean, in terms of other like engaged jungles, we just don't really have those right now. You know, you're not looking for Sejuani Lulu. Sion is going to be the opt-in here for Zeus.
Okay.
So saving the Kanavi pick for last. A little bit surprising.
Very surprising. Unless he's going to play Lulu jungle, which I highly doubt. As Taeun, let's see whether he's going to be jumping on something like his Ezreal that we've seen so many times.
That's kind of where I'm feeling like he has to probably go here. Like the Misfortune is not popular right now, but it would have been one of the strongest bully lanes they could set up with a great setup with this Orianna. Now, this is a different look entirely. Quirky, one that we haven't talked about and is very safe, actually. But there's not a lot of engage here until we find out what that Kanavi pick is just yet for Hanwha Esports. But you take a strong 2v2 in the bottom lane, and it's playable into the Lulu, and then you go, okay, well, no matter what your jungle pick is, it's going to be Valkyriable, probably. We banned the Jarvan, we banned the Xin Zhao, so you don't have those wild growth combos, and the Sion isn't really a big threat for the Corki. So I do like how they've rounded this one out.
Oh, it's Zion. Okay.
Zion debut here in LCK. I've seen this pick a lot in other regions. It's even played in LCP as support earlier today. I didn't see if it won or not, but Orca played it. It's certainly experimental right now, I would say. Gives this composition, though, a lot of frontline and brawling power around this Corki once he hits his 2-item spike.
Yeah.
Aatrox, jungle, the answer.
All right, that's what Kanavi's looking at here. It's Zahin before Zahin is going to be picked up. As of course, we did have the conversation yesterday where we did have Aatrox actually picked up. A lot of people were asking why updated Aatrox wasn't the consideration instead. But this will be Kanavi on this champion. Of course, if you were watching during the Kesper Cup, Aatrox jungle was kind of ridiculous during that tournament. Of course, we are, a patch or two down the line since then and isn't quite considered as powerful, but is still pretty good and gets through the jungle pretty quick.
I think Zahin works really well in matchups like this where you're just constantly trading with a tank, getting your passive online. And in the front line, when you're brawling with the Aatrox and the Sion, and you're even going to have some Orianna shields on top of you, you're going to be able to get your res off in a big team fight pretty consistently. Not to mention his ult is going to work pretty well. A lot of the time with Zion, if you're in a tough matchup early, it can be quite volatile. And if you fall behind, it's really difficult to get back into the game. Aatrox a lot safer in that regard, but if you get through the laning phase and you get to those brawly team fights later on where your Corki's on 2 items, you are just going to be so difficult to stop. So I like this angle here. I think this is one of the better drafts and probably why we haven't seen it up until this point. It's just been kind of looking for a little bit more of a niche draft like this that suits it incredibly well. This comp, though, for Hanwha Esports scales so incredibly well. That tanky frontline might not matter when that Aphelios is cutting through.
Yeah, it's exactly right. I think that both of these compositions are looking pretty balanced, but Hanwha Esports looks so incredibly playable throughout so much of this game, with Gumayusi then as that late game win condition.
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for game number 1 of our final day of our first week of LCK Cup. Already, you can see a little bit of Biffo here towards the bottom side of the map, but probably not too much to be coming from this. We'll have to see who is actually going to be able to pick up the lane control here in this one, as of course, with the Calibrum, you do have a fair bit of range on this Aphelios, but you're not necessarily known for having a lot of buttons that do good things in the early stages of the laning phase.
Got the shield from Delight, his barrier after that, but still going to take some poke damage here. The Corki has way more damage throughput at level 1, but doesn't want to necessarily trade with the Lulu on the other side, so it's just a little bit of a poke war here, which is why you see Guma just expend his barrier to make sure he can get the max amount of health possible.
Yep.
It's on a relatively low cooldown anyways.
And Taeyun does have his up and available, so it might mean that over the next couple of levels there is a bit of an aggressive opportunity here for Nongshim, already pushing relatively aggressively. But it's not like a clear-cut we win the lane type scenario. As you can see, King taking a bit of a combo here from Zeus, and probably wants a couple of extra buttons up and available here on the Zion before he's really feeling good into the Sion.
Yeah, you have your kind of skewer ability, which he hasn't locked, obviously your W. And that can be used in a lot of other matchups, but against this Sion, you're kind of like, just keep my distance from him for now.
Yeah, let's not bring that guy closer towards us, perhaps.
Yeah, gets the sweet spot on this one as best as he can. I think he hit the sweet spot on that. It's hard to see when you're not playing the champ yourself, but Guma gonna force a barrier here, but I don't really think that was the way he wanted to play that.
Yeah, and it is, it kind of works out here as Taeyun didn't get a massive amount of value from his barrier, and Gumayusi almost has his back up and available.
Yeah, he actually played that pretty passively after getting the barrier, gets away, has the Lulu to keep him up, and then he has Red Gun to heal. Actually ends up working out way better than I initially anticipated there on the setup. Guma has such mastery of this champion. I mentioned I was banned against him last time, like that. It's his first penta in the LCK. He was playing behind Teddy back in 2021 after having his debut in the Worlds qualifier, and He's since won multiple world championships and has the most recent MVP under his belt, but it's been a while since he's been able to play Aphelios, and I'm sure he's probably enjoying the laning phase here.
Yeah, feeling pretty good about it so far. Currently behind a little bit as far as farm, but nothing too much to be worried about here. As Kingin taking another combo here from Zeus, who seems to be having an all right time on this Scion. Sponge making his way down towards this bottom side of the map, though, where Delight and Gumayusi could be in a little bit of trouble. We'll see. Playing it very safely for now. Should mean that everything will be okay. Gumayusi also with a fair bit of added safety, the Gravitum up and available. And so we'll be able to stop some members in their tracks. It's all right. Almost hitting the snare is Lehens. Gumayusi able to use that flash, get him to safety, but flash down on the AD carry feels pretty good with a return gank.
Yeah, this is putting Guma in a very vulnerable spot. Not going to see a follow-up there. As Kingin is looking for the extended trade here, he gets the knock-up. Not going to matter too much.
Yep, charging up that passive over and over. And of course, pretty dangerous doing battle with this guy when he does have that one fully charged. So short trades here for Zeus feeling like the best things to be looking for.
You know, the difference between Zahin and Aatrox is like, with Aatrox, you want to hit the sweet spot, right? And like, you basically initially hit it kind of far away, and then you have the awkward second one, and the third one you slam it right in his face, whereas the sweet spot for Zahin is kind of like, I'm close to you, but not really that close. Like, I'm going to kind of be like a little bit away from an auto attack range on this sweet spot. You're kind of Beyblading a little bit.
It is somewhat awkward. But Kingin, we'll just have to see, is of course hitting a sweet spot on a Scion somewhat easier than others.
That's true.
He is a relatively large champion. So there you go. Maybe that's why Kingin has gone for this into the Scion this time around. As of course, probably would have wanted to pick the Ambessa or the Gwen. Those were banned away. As a fair bit of damage there. As gets a nice little knock up, but not going to quite be able to kill the Scion on that one.
That's where you can get those trading patterns in this matchup when he charges a full Q and you have all your abilities up. So you want that wave, you're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to expend your health bar for it. He will expend a teleport as well as he heads back to lane. Kingin will match.
Yep. Does have his Page now put together and will arrive, but that is a Bramble Vest, so Zeus is getting more and more frustrating to deal with here in this lane as these items come together, especially with that passive stacking up that health over and over again. So Kingin, work cut out for him just a little bit here.
It gets easier.
Yeah. Should be able to cut through some tanks once he does have...
That looks weird.
Yeah, that is very strange. Didn't know you could get through that wall. There you go.
Sponge is very low.
Yeah, he is going to be able to take the first Chemtech Dragon, but Kanavi looking for a little bit of an option here. Does hit the Infernal Chains, but they're broken pretty comfortably.
Sponge is like, yeah, if it was another jungler, I would have felt scared, but that's Aatrox. His engage is kind of, you know, relying on me not walking away.
Yeah. I will choose not to fight, as it turns out.
You can tell Kanavi was like, well, I guess I'd toss it out and see what happens. This is the first Dragon going over to Nongshim to control that bottom lane. And the Corki pick working out here initially. Scout?
Emperor's Divide, yeah, going to throw back Scout here as Kanavi with the World Ender looking for an opportunity. Flash does come through. There's the Flash Infernal Chains. And Scout is just pulled back into the sweet spot of Q3. And down he will go. First blood over to Kanavi. And Zeka also almost able to grab himself a plate at the same time. That is a big swing of gold for HLE.
Yeah, he should be able to get it once he clears this wave. That's massive. And unfortunately, the walk-away strat for a mid laner in this situation, not enough. When he's already expended his flash, does end up getting pulled back by the chains. Didn't use his ult there. I don't think there was really any angle to save him, because if you watch the angle at which this comes through, like if he ults here, it doesn't matter.
You have to flash it immediately, right?
It's the only way to survive here is to flash the Emperor's Divide. If he ults both of them on the chase, I think he still dies, so doesn't matter. Like you said, that's the part he did not opt for. Just didn't react, I suppose.
Yeah. The job had kind of already been done as soon as that Emperor's Divide did hit. So a little bit unfortunate there for Scout, but Zeka feeling very happy about this situation, almost has that Nash's Tooth put together, and Kanavi off to the races here on this Aatrox for the moment. Actually farming extraordinarily well, him and Sponge in this game, really getting around this jungle as quickly as they can. Reset to come through here for the Aatrox, and getting very, very close to item number 1.
And there is ult up for Pantheon, so I don't think Kanavi's going to make any plays down here, but he is going to go to these Kregs first to start his nuclear. And we'll see Scout rotating over as well, trying to make something with this Pantheon ultimate for Sponge. Doesn't look like they're going to get anything except deep vision.
Yep. And they do spot that Knavi is towards his bottom side, so having eyes on this freshly fed Aatrox is certainly a good idea here for Nongshim. But he's on the red, going to be taking that and then looking for another avenue as the Grubs have just spawned. That is going to be the next port of call for both of our teams to look at as far as these neutral objectives. Zeus making his way down towards said pit already as Zeka finds it once again. It's so much easier with that flash on cooldown, and it's Zeka that grabs the kill this time. Man, this Knavi Zeka 1-2 punch is getting scary. I
mean, I was watching the positioning of Knavi on the minimap and where Scout was, and I was in my head, I almost just said before this even happened, like, I think Scout's dead, because he just doesn't have flash. He doesn't have anything he can do there. If that dash comes through from Zeka, he's just way too close. And he's just dead again, and that's free grubs. Like, there's just nothing Sponge can do. Also, now trying to set up something down here in the bottom lane with his Pantheon is going to be so tricky because Delight has flash and ult as well. Like, I just don't think there's a cross map for you in this one, Nongshim.
And Sponge is going to be spotted on this ward as well as he makes his way in. They are going to be able to clear that out, so he does know that he's been spotted, but full information over to HLE for now.
Like, Guma has barrier flash too. Like, this is going to be so tricky to pull off. They might be able to do it.
It's red-white guns. It's a bit scary here as the Pop Blossom does come on through. They do try and focus on Guma YouTube to get the wild growth, and Taeyeon's going to go down in trade. Zeka teleports in to make sure that he's seeing the end of this fight, but a 1-for-1 is not what Nongshim were looking for.
No, certainly not. Guma opts not to flash when the wild growth comes through because he has the wild growth. Sorry, when the Pop Blossom comes through because he has the wild growth. Hits 2, and Taeyeon does not flash, but dies, so it ends up being a 1-for-1. Still, I mean, they were able to make a successful play happen, and they were also able to get Zeka's teleport, so it's not all for nothing down there on the bottom side, but like you said, definitely looking for a little bit more on that one. It was a desperate attempt, but at least it didn't go up all empty. You know, maybe Guma's flashes the Pop Blossom, and that goes even worse, but...
And they kill Guma underneath this turret as well, so he doesn't actually get to take this wave, and so Taeyeon's 20 CS advantage is a lot more permanent. But Taeyeon picking up the turret aggro, not exactly the greatest of maneuvers either. But Nongshim, I think, a 1-for-1 and denying farm for Guma. Probably, you know, it's a neutral play. We'll call it neutral. Let's give it that.
I mean, it's furthering Taeyeon's lead. And that's the only available play they had. If they just, you know, keep pushing that in and say, well, that's it. Like, Sponge is like, why do you pick Pantheon? I can't ult anywhere. There's no angle for me in this game. As Kingan's an early game Zahin, you know, and the Orianna is getting crushed.
Oh, Lahen's also getting crushed, but does have a disengage cone. Shout out to Valdez. Waiting on the space. Maybe we will get our highlight number 1 as that particular disengage cone. Just to talk about how frustrating it can be.
I mean, now Pantheon still has ultimate, but is very far away. And there's a lurking Aatrox. Like, Lehens is on his way back. This could get very awkward as they crash this wave through. They're going to at least get a plate, but they may get more as Taeyeon still has flash, but they could just cut off this Pantheon. Or sorry, this Nico.
Yeah, Lehens has to flash immediately. Now Taeyeon realizes that he's in an awkward spot. There's the flash in from Sponge, though, as they do get Zeka, but he's able to shift the sands, get himself over the wall, flash from Scout, and Zeka is going to come on through, but Scout has that clockwork wind up, is able to take down the Azir. Still, the fight continues here as Knavi looking for the angle, gets the wild growth. That's going to be the end of Lehens and Sponge in so much trouble as well. This Aatrox is completely unstoppable, and he is going to transition that into their first dragon of the game as well. I mean, man, Knavi is poised to take over this game completely.
Don't forget that Scout had to flash to kill Zeka. Zeka almost got out. If Zeka lives there, it's even worse. I mean, they really are one step forward, you know, 2 or 3 steps back on this one. And, like, the whole time, it's just Knavi set up for success. He has this Lulu. And this is kind of the way that you can play so many of these new bruiser junglers, like the Ambessa we've already seen in the same position. When you have a Lulu, you just go, well, if I'm going in, and I'm Aatrox, I've got a lot of healing, I'm very difficult to kill, I have a wild growth, I have shields, you know? Zeka ends up getting the dash over the wall here. Scout has to flash over the wall, which is a nice flash here, is able to get that off successfully. But the rest of the team here is just way too deep, and like, watch Knavi get on top of Lehens, who doesn't have flash because he used it just before. The ult comes out from Guma, and Knavi has wild growth on him. No one is ever going to put even a dent in his health bars. Goes up to full, hits that dragon.
Man.
And that'll be the dragon going over to Hanwha Esports as well.
And it means now the gold is almost unanimously over HLE's side. Even that lead that Taeyun had is kind of dissipated. Zeus is trying to grab this last plate. They do have the 3 grubs as well, so these turrets are going to be falling very swiftly. And I don't know whether we're going to be seeing too much of the Zahan gameplay in today's game.
I just think we're witnessing a bit of a... I don't want to say it's player-based on the Sponge side, but he just hasn't been set up for any sort of jungle proactivity, whereas Kanavi has these lanes that are crushing, and he's able to find constant value, even without a global ultimate, so Sponge is still just behind the curve this entire time. He just cannot make the impact.
They are on the same screen as Kanavi. That cannot be a good idea as Sponge dives forward onto Gumayusi. He flashes away. Kanavi's just posing the question, can they kill him? That's the question, is now in amongst it. Taeyun going down very, very low. There's a wild growth once again as Delight's support is fantastic, but they do manage to take down the Aatrox. The problem is Zeka turns up, and that's going to be 2 on the floor for Nongshim at the same time.
This is a big disaster for Nongshim here on these bottom lane skirmishes. And we just have not seen the top laners involved in this game at all. And the Aphelios isn't online per se. In fact, was down an item over the Corki in this exchange, but it doesn't matter because they have the Aatrox that's fed. That's such a strong body in these fights. Zeka can show up late and get the Emperor's Divide. And Nongshim is opting in, but it's just not worth it. And I think they need to be thinking a little bit more about, like, yes, our composition is aggressive, right? It has a lot of Nico engaged, it has the Orianna engaged, but when it's not all set up, like, I'm not entirely sure what they thought was going to happen here. After getting Guma's flash, you'd want to get out, but you can't really get out. Lehen just gets the Pop Blossom, so they're like, okay, I guess we turn on Kanavi. They should have probably just said, well, let's get out, you know? The Pop Blossom may allow us to potentially escape as Zeka shows up here, and they just get routed. Sure, kill Kanavi in the end, but absolutely not worth.
Yeah, it was a bit of shutdown money, but you can see he still has a 1.3k gold advantage. And with Scout grabbing the kill, does mean that he now is in the lead just slightly. Does have his Blackfire Torch now completed, building towards the double burn. And will be doing a fair bit of consistent damage in these fights. Does kind of need it up against Zeus on this Scion, who is going to be very, very difficult to move. But as this game goes on, I mean, Gumayusi is going to be putting more and more items together, has his collector now completed as well. And looking for that item number 2 where he can. Might be the 2-item spike in the collector Infinity Edge that he's going for here. I actually kind of like that. Trying to get a little bit of extra power in those 2 items instead of going for a lot more of these 3-item builds. All right, Kanavi, I don't know about this one, as he's just dead.
Like I said, he only goes in. He doesn't know about the other directions.
Yeah, didn't need to. He could have gone sideways or something, or just gone in elsewhere, because that was not it. But that's okay. I like the gusto.
Yeah, I like the gusto a little bit less, but I thought, you know, it looked really like we were going to put Aatrox to the
Sometimes it's the intention that counts, you know, and he intended to make action happen, Wolf.
He was like, look, I hit this guy with Thunder Sky, then I hit the next guy. I mean, there's something here. Yeah. There was not, in fact, something there, except 3 people that were trying to kill him, and then they did. But, hey, you know, it did cost them the Herald, so it was not a play that... Like, if you look at the setup here, the rest of the team is not rotating off Herald. Zeka is not in position to Emperor's Divide. So I think there need to be a little bit more coordinated of a discussion about how they were going to fight that. They'd probably have to drop Herald and look for a flash play from Zeka, or just be a little bit more patient. Instead, he kind of just sent it, and it was received.
Yeah.
They got a thank you note in return.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, at least the mail company did a really good job. You nailed that part. Outside of that, not exactly the optimal scenario. However, HLE is still sitting on about a 2,000 gold lead. Things still looking great for the squad for the minute. As Kanavi, for a bit of an angle towards Sponge here, is standing on a ward right now, though. So Nongshim with full information as to the whereabouts of this Aatrox.
And we still haven't seen top laners in this game. Like,
yeah, they have not participated.
They're both 0-0-0 up. They're just hitting each other. Kanavi's starting up this dragon. Kingen, he's considering. He's like, should I go down there? I don't think so. I'll let Zeus go down. I'm going to stay up top. I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to get money.
Well, he might actually be able to grab a decent amount of plate gold here, as the Trinity Force is already completed for the Zahan, so we will be cutting through these turrets very effectively. There's the Rift Herald, gets a decent little charge there, as there's the flash ult from Zeus, as Gumayusi throws out his ulti as well. That is a dead Taeyun, just stepping a little bit too far forward.
Yeah, I remember when I said in the draft that he's like, oh, okay, it's a Scion. There'll probably only be one form of engage I'm worried about.
Oh, the hands finds the double pop blossom on two of the carries here as Gumayusi is the target, but oh my goodness, gets so much of his health bar back.
There's just not enough damage to take him out there once Taeyun is gone, even though Scout's trying his best.
Kanavi. Okay, he's not going to die to the turret this time around. As Zeka now could be in a little bit of trouble here as he does have to shift the sands to make his way out. Delight to slow down Scout with that glitter lance. And HLE
TP?
will be able to back away.
TP from Zeus to the back.
Okay. Well, he's just going to walk up and see whether he can park himself underneath this turret to make something happen. Just says, Scout, please leave. And Scout will leave.
Because Kingen got the whole turret, so I guess he was like, you know what, there's nothing to defend here. Might as well just go in. He's been reading Kanavi's book on how to play League of Legends. But like, I mentioned in the draft, though, Taeyun picks the Corki because he's like, okay, there's a Scion, there'll probably be a jungle that engages. I'm a little bit worried about that, as Kingen should be worried.
He should, as Kanavi's going to come in, does land the Q onto Taeyun here, as the rest of Nongshim will show up. Lahan's not going to get pulled back by those Infernal Chains, but slowed down enough to dissuade the engage.
It's just kind of insane to me that a Corki got Scion engaged on and then died, as Guma instantly followed up, right? I think we're going to go back to this now. Zeus is just like, Taeyun? Nah.
Yeah.
Flash ult. I mean, just as simple as that. As the wild growth to follow, Guma follows up. He's just dead. And that's, I guess, as a Corki, you feel like, I have Valk, I'm fine. No, not in this case. This is a nice little attempt here from Lehens, but there just isn't enough damage. You see the fall from Scout is fantastic, but Kanavi has the turret aggro.
Oh, Lehens finds the angle once again onto Gumayusi. There's the shockwave, and down he will go. Sponge makes his way in as well. They really threw the kitchen sink at Guma to make sure that he went down, and that is going to be his second death of the game.
Kingen is going to get some extra side lane pressure as we're still fighting.
Yeah, there's another double knock up here as Kanavi comes forward. He's the real carry this game, and down will go Sponge. Now Kanavi's still looking for a little bit more here as he is still alive on Summoner's Rift, so that means he's going to be going in. If there's a turret, does not care.
Like, I kind of said it almost jokingly at the beginning because of how he played that series against T1, but I mean, this is starting to get, like, it's turning into a meme, like, right before our eyes. But you know what, when you're Aatrox and you're this fed and you have this much support, why not?
I mean, it works.
Yeah. As, you know, this scenario here, I'm going to watch this one. Guma gets the shield, goes a bit far up. Lehens is fully wrapped around, gets him on the edge. There's a lot of burst damage here between the Orianna and that Corki. And then Sponge sends it, and this was received as well, as he goes forward here, and once again, with the last of his mana, Zeus has his ult and a charged Q.
My goodness.
And that's the end of the Pantheon. Like, I'm not entirely sure what we were thinking there, Sponge, but...
I mean, Kanavi was standing on a control ward for the majority of the time before he even decided to come in. So Nongshim did have information as to what was going on there, but Zeus being able to start that fight off exactly the way they needed him to.
That Kanavi lead is the whole lead. It's the whole thing.
And we were talking about the fact that, you know, Kanavi has one mode. Well, I'm not doubting it. This mode is working, you know? And I know it's a little bit results-based or, you know, outcome-focused assessment, as Daniel Orks Harrison would say.
I mean, with this much gold, you could say he's on economy mode, but it doesn't feel that way, you know what I mean? That usually, like, he's not on low-power mode.
Yeah.
That's for sure, as he's 4 levels up on Lehens, takes a swipe at him. And one day, Kingen will show up for a team fight. You know, it was a bit of a fun time watching Kingen just avoid fights and lost games for Nongshim last year. This game, I'm like, maybe now that you've got the Sundered Sky, you're better release Aatrox. Get involved a little bit, because Taeyun is still relevant. He's about to hit his transformation.
Yeah.
He's still big. You know, he was caught that one time, but otherwise can do a lot. This composition revolves around its insane front line, the Pantheon, the Zahin, and then the Pop Blossom. Taeyun can do big with this. They have great setup with Scout as well. This game is not lost by any means, but we need to see this team coordinate real 5v5s, because right now Hanwha Esports is just calling every shot. And Kanavi is the one who's calling the shots on Hanwha Life.
Okay, Wolf, Kanavi is going in.
He's going.
I don't want to surprise you, but he is just going to look to kill Sponge. Sponge is just dead. Now Taeyun is in between his turrets, and that is an illegal place to be as the Infernal Chains pulls him back. Pop Blossom not going to be enough to save him. Yes, it is. Never mind. Enough to save him here is maybe not enough to save Lehens, as Kanavi has tanked about 11 turret shots here, and he still kills him underneath the turret. My goodness, this guy is so bloodthirsty today.
Scout did not want a TP ult in. He's like, I'm not going to TP and drop an ult on this. This is just doomed. It feels like this whole game, I'm watching 5 members on Hanwha Life Esports walk towards Nongshim and kill them with their fearless leader running forward first. Their Aatrox on now 2.5 items. And Nongshim are just like kind of split up and not sure what to do. Like, Kanavi's just like, all right, I found the enemy jungle that's 2 levels down. There are teammates nearby. I mean, I'm sure like Guma and crew are like, there might be some bad guys in there, and he's like, that's what I'm looking for.
That's my goal.
He's like, that's kind of the point. And the fact that this between 2 turrets, Sion is again able to ult Taeyun, a Corki. And
it's just like perfectly timed wolf.
I'm kind of losing it. Like Nongshim.
Oh,
we gotta play a pro game here. Is Hanwha Life Esports is making this look easy. They get the dragon.
Yeah, Nongshim will be able to take their second of the game here as Shockwave still up and available. Let's see whether Kanavi can get in amongst it. Oh my goodness, they're all stacked up. As Kanavi, can he actually find it? Pop Blossom hits onto 3, but the Emperor's Divide is there as well. It's so hard to kill this Aatrox as Sponge survives for a long time, but finally will be taken out. Kingen getting in amongst it, almost picks off 2 as Gumayushi limping away with about 100 health, but that is a much better fight here for Nongshim.
And Kingen, he wanted so desperately to Zahin. Like he was.
I mean, he did. He assisted Zahin 3 times.
He went in there. He was trying to auto the champions. He was getting polymorphed. Finally, he got his ult down. He was like, "You can kill me. I'm coming back." And they're like, "We'll kill you again." What happens after that? As this fight against Taeyun can't really get access, right? They end up really trying to play through this Zahin as they kite back. Sponge has to flash away. And then Kingen's at half health. He does not really have his passive stacked, right? So this is when the Pop Blossom comes through, but there's not really a huge follow-up. Scouts over the wall, but cannot find can't find full cryo target. Zeka goes down, but then Kingen is just running at them while Kanavi keeps the carries away. And ultimately, Guma and Delight will get out. It's a messy fight. It's one that Hanwha win, but that Nongshim win, but not in decisive fashion at all.
They do manage to get the Drake, though. So taking the Dragon and being able to come out ahead just a bit in the fight. Also, I mean, you can see it in the gold. That has actually shrunk by about half. So HLE not exactly controlling the game as much as they were prior. And with the entire outer ring of turrets already taken down, there is 1 extra inner turret taken here by HLE as well. So some standing gold on the map here for Nongshim. They could even it out with a good push.
They certainly can. 1 big team fight win for them, and they're back in. In fact, they'll be in charge. And Scout is actually pretty huge now. 10 stacks, has his death cap completed.
And he's gone for a damage build as well. It's not this...
Yeah, please. I want to see more of this.
Yeah, I want to see it as well. I kind of like it. Does mean that all of your buttons feel like they do stuff when you can just burn them with any sort of ability. And now that he's got a death cap, I mean, everything hurts.
I mean, you're playing into
very cool.
Aatrox and Sion, so it's pretty good if you can do more than just 1 R button in a team fight. Every Q matters, every W matters. And I do like this build quite a lot. And now, looking at this setup here, Nongshim do have a little bit of prio around this Baron. And they clear this control ward as quickly as they can. And the Shockwave positioning here makes it difficult to approach for Hanwha Life Esports.
I think Kanavi may be about to go in.
He wants to. I can tell you that much. He's also using Restraint.
There are 4 people right there. The rest of his team, not exactly nearby.
Kingen's rotating up faster. And, okay, Kanavi... You're walking a tightrope here. Wants to bait them, it feels like.
Yeah. Does get another control ward down here. Doesn't quite find the chains onto Sponge. So the rest of HLE moving on over. Zeus getting himself into position. There's the flash ulti onto 3 as the Q knocks up 2 of them. And there's the shuffle from Zeka. Down will go the Lulu. But it's in trade for 2. One of them being the Eddie carry. And HLE now considering going for a Baron.
I mean, Zeus is making, like, this... Sion looked like Cannon or something.
Yeah, right?
He just keeps flashing and getting exactly what he wants. He's gap closing with his flash button. He's using his ultimate at point blank range.
Oh, Pop Blossom does come on through as now Gumayushi could be in a little bit of trouble, but it's
There's
just
no
by hand. So I don't know how they were supposed to do anything about that. He does go golden. Is now Kingen at full health, but he has to face off against Zeus, who is incredibly difficult to kill. There's the W, and the ulti comes through here from Kingen to take down the Aatrox. but he's now into his passive. Scout looking for the angle here as Gumayushi is by himself. As now Kingen fighting off Zeus and Zeka here one by one, and he will go down in the process. And Zeka still not able to actually enter the river here, so the Baron will stay alive.
Sponge is back up here. Kanavi's down for 30 seconds, but I just don't think they quite have the damage to do this Baron. Zeka's still alive. His Emperor's Divide back up. Zeka did so much damage in that fight as he just kept Kingen at bay despite Guma's death.
There is one thing that I really love about this though, and these are two legend teams. Yeah, this game feels so Rise Group right
now.
No,
it really does.
Which is only a good thing.
Like, when you watch this setup here, it feels like in so many ways, like Nongshim don't have a great plan. They see Kanavi, they start running. That's like a good strategy usually, because Kanavi might run too far afterwards. But then Zeus is able to flash the Raptor Pit, set up the Wombo combo. Kingen teleports in, and then this fight gets a little bit messy here, as Kingen is able to stack his passive up. And this Lehen's ultimate would have been great if there was follow-up. But this whole game, Nongshim have been so split on team fights that even though the gold was relatively even, my whole vibe for this game is that like the tempo vibes are not Nongshim's. Like they just do not have a setup in team fights. And I think if they were all coordinated like they were on the last fight where we saw the big shockwave from Scout, this game could look very different. They are able to, because Scout is able to get on top of Guma, take him out, but Kingen is just a ragdoll here. He doesn't have any follow-up damage even with Scout's build.
It was a very awkward position for Gumayushi to find himself in as well, as he was sort of on the wrong side of the big old rock, but wanted to stay in range to do damage. So did find himself at the mercy of Scout after that flash did come on through. HLE looking for Soul Point. They will be able to get it.
There's a control ward here. They know that Nongshim are on this, obviously, and they're very aware that they were rotating over, but they can see the timing. They know exactly, we can get this Dragon, push mid. There's no way they can do this. They also have Sun Disc, as you can see here, so Nongshim wanted to give Dragon to get Baron, but they will get nothing in return.
Zeus doesn't have flash, so he's not going to be flashing on top of Nongshim this time around, but he can drive a bus towards them if he feels like it. Kanavi now getting very close to the bad guys. Lehen's, I'm not sure about this position, but he does sidestep Zeus's ultimate. Still gets slowed down though, as the Roar of the Slayer does come on through, and there is the fully charged Q. Lehen's will just be dead.
I didn't see it until just now. When I saw that slow, I was like, does he have Bandle Pipe? He has Bandle Pipes. Zeus built Bandle Pipe.
There we go.
He's gotten a lot of gold this game. He's putting it to good uses. Now Nongshim are looking for a contest.
Well, it could be a 50-50 here as Sponge. He's been pretty good at those in the past. Let's see whether Kanavi can lock this one down. Down to 3,000. Sponge trying to get into the pit here. There's a shockwave! Absolutely insane! This is a triple for Sponge! Does manage to help take down another one as Scout gets pulled back, but it's a quadra kill for the Pantheon! Absolute insanity here for Nongshim, as now they're going to look to push in and break open the base!
Yeah, I mean, 30 seconds on Guma, 40 on Zeka. They have a wave here with a cannon minion. I mean, trying to end here, I think, might be a bridge too far, but they may go for it. They may just also go back and take the Baron. 20 seconds on Aphelios.
I think they might
have enough.
I think they might be able to do it.
I mean, Scout is so huge this game. This turret is just not going to last long enough, and I think they just barely have enough time here to take this Nexus out. What a silly end. Great combo from Scout.
What a ridiculous game.
That game.
Are we? Okay, I'm back.